Welcome back to Great Day. Domestic abuse includes a range of controlling behaviors that can be physical, emotional, or financial. It can happen to anyone, anywhere, and at any time. Here to help share how they're giving a voice to help others recognize the signs and get help is licensed professional counselor Dr. Shana Lewis, along with Tina George, to share her story. Good morning.
Good morning, Deborah. Good morning.
All right. I have known you for quite some time, but you have been a licensed clinical therapist for over 17 years and
yes.
Are a PhD. This is an area that you specialized in. Why?
Oh gosh, well, I've been a therapist for 17 years and I was in a private practice seeing women and adolescent girls. That was my specialty. And I had so many women coming to me with this issue about a relationship. We'd make a great plan and she'd go back.
Yeah.
And I was confused. I was rendered helpless as the helper.
Yeah.
So it sent me back to school because I needed answers.
And seeing these young girls where you could actually predict this is where they're going to be. They're susceptible.
Absolutely,
right?
because they were raised in a violent home and that was their norm.
Right.
So you go and you seek the thing that you know to be normal in your adult life.
All right, Tina, for you, you found yourself in a couple of violent relationships.
Yes, I did.
What was it that basically it made you drawn to these men, or how they sucked you in, if you will?
Well, it stems back with what Dr. Jana just said. I was raised in an abusive family. My father was an abuser. So it's like I attracted those type of men in my life.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was your kind of coming to Jesus moment where you found your strength to get away?
Oh my gosh, it was a particular trip. My husband was a truck driver, so at that night we prepared for bed. And he started accusing me of something that wasn't true, and I told him I wasn't going to admit to it. So he just went off on me. He started choking me to the point where I was just crying. I was calling out for my grandbaby that he loved so much. And he stopped, and then he stopped the choking, but then he started beating me, and I continued to, when I was praying. I'm a praying woman. So that same grandbaby was the reason he stopped choking me, and ultimately the reason I left him.
Yeah, and Shana, we don't want people to have to get to this point, but again, there's a stereotype of who this happens to, and I can tell you, I've shared this story before. In my first relationship, my first, what I thought was the first real relationship, I found myself with somebody who was abusive in many ways, and it ended up physically, but it started out with the emotional abuse. Like, you're not as pretty as that girl.
Exactly. 50% of women will suffer from at least psychological abuse. So that means every 2 women in a room, one of them has, will be, or currently is in that situation right now. But we just don't know that's what it is. You didn't know.
I didn't. And in fact, I thought he was telling the truth in the beginning.
Exactly.
And then when I stopped listening to it and said, well, I don't care, then that's when things escalated. And finally it ended with him hitting me and controlling me and calling me names and things like that. So what are the things that people should look for? Because oftentimes a woman's too embarrassed or too fearful. And I also need to point this out. It happens most of the time women are the victims of it, but it can also be men who are abused as well.
Very true. 85% of victims of domestic violence are women, so that leaves another 15% that are men that we know of. There may be more that don't report it because it can happen on both sides. But looking for coercive control, because that's what domestic violence is, a systematic way to destroy a woman from the inside out. If I control your mind, I got everything else. I never have to touch you, and I can still control everything you do.
Right.
Whatever you think, where you go, who you spend time with, all of that.
And that whole thing, sometimes it starts by shrinking your world of who you can call on.
Isolation.
Right? Yeah, so isolation's a part of it, withholding goods and things.
Oh yeah, controlling your money. When you go to work, bring me your check. I give you an allowance, and when you go shopping, you bring me the receipt and the change to make sure I got it right. You tell me what to wear, you tell me who to talk to, you check my Facebook, you check my social media, that's a sign. My text messages, well, who liked your messages and who's texting you? That's controlling.
Yeah, and making up things. I remember one time he said to me, I heard that you were looking at a guy that we knew at the mall today. And I'm like, I don't even remember seeing him at the mall. And it took me a long time to realize he was making it up.
And
it was to put me on the defensive, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so Her Voice, you formed this whole program, and you're going to celebrate this with a jazz luncheon. And because of going to one of these events is how you became stronger, correct?
Yes, absolutely. It was in June of 2015, and I didn't realize that I was invited to an event and I wasn't gonna go, but then I decided to go. And at the event I realized that, oh my gosh, it has been 1 month from me leaving him. And that's how I met Shana, Dr. Shana, on that day, and didn't have any idea 2 years later that I was gonna be a mentor for Her Voice.
Right, which is great. When somebody comes in and says, I can't, you can say, yes, you can, and I understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely.
So at this event, tell us what people can expect at this event and what Her Voice does year-round?
So Her Voice is a nonprofit that's dedicated to empowering survivors of domestic violence through mentorship and education, much like Big Brothers Big Sisters. I used to work there many years ago, which is where I got the idea, because research shows a woman who's a survivor is more helpful to another woman who's a survivor than I can ever be. I'm not a survivor.
You can give them the tools.
Yes, but you need someone who understands, like the AA model. It's very similar. And so what we do is we match women in the community together to walk with each other through their relationship. So if you've been out for 2 years or more, which is why she had to wait 2 years before she could come into the program, you're able to mentor a woman who just came out of the program. You walk with her through it. You spend 4 hours a month talking to her, spending time with her, encouraging her.
Connecting her to resources.
All of that. And we do that, and we wrap around her. We train women to be in this program. And at the Jazz Brunch, amazing. Joe Carmouche is our
I've been
band.
there. Yes, it is. It's awesome.
Right, because you were there the last time. And so it's a great event, and we're going to have music. There's a great silent auction, Deborah, so they need to bring their purse, too.
Yeah, because you got to raise money for these things.
It costs money to do this work.
Right.
And so, but you get great food at the DoubleTree Greenway Plaza. It's a beautiful venue. It's going to be a wonderful day. Great music, great food, because I did the food testing. It's going to be good.
Okay, it's going to be good. And a great cause.
And a great cause.
Dr. Shana Lewis will be hosting Putting the Pieces Together, the hidden secrets of domestic violence. That Sunday Jazz Brunch on Sunday, October 7th, starting at 2 p.m. The event will be held at the DoubleTree Hotel in Greenway Plaza. Log on to Great Day Houston for more information. Have a great day.